It's Aaliyah with eXp Realty, and if you have been looking at the job opportunities in Fort McMurray, if you've been thinking about moving here, and if you've never been here or only been here for a really brief time, let me share with you 5 things that you should know before moving to Fort McMurray. Well, I think most people would know this, but let's start off with the basics. Where is Fort McMurray? So, Fort McMurray is actually located in northern Alberta. We're about 430 kilometers north of Edmonton. Fort McMurray is the size of a city, but it actually isn't a city. It used to be a village back in the 60s, and then it was incorporated as a city in the 80s. And then in 1995, Fort McMurray became known as the Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo. So while Fort McMurray is about 4 hours from the nearest major hub or very large city, we do have small communities around us. We have the largest city being Fort McMurray with about 70,000 people that live here. And then we have communities on all sides of us. To the north of Fort McMurray, we have Fort McKay. To the south of Fort McMurray, we have Anzac. We have Gregoire Lake Estates. We have a small community called Sapri Creek Estates. So Fort McMurray is not a city, but it does have great amenities, which leads me to my next point. So point number 2, Fort McMurray's amenities. We have a surprising amount of things that you might not even realize when you're coming so far north. Fort McMurray has some of the very best recreational facilities. We have a place called McDonald Island Park, which houses multiple ice rinks, arenas, which are used for all kinds of things. There's field houses, there's indoor soccer field houses. We at Mag Island has a large indoor swimming pool, water park. It's where the swim club practices. We also have a huge outdoor football field. The facility of McDonald Island Park is so amazing, you just about need to look it up yourself. So I'm gonna try and link a video here so that you could take a look at everything that Mag Island has to offer. It's amazing. But outside of recreational facilities, there's a lot more to Fort McMurray than meets the eye. Currently, Fort McMurray does offer an amazing brand new movie theater, multiple screens, very comfortable, reclining, big oversized seats, just as good as you'd find in a big city. Now Fort McMurray is a very outdoorsy place, and I'm actually lucky enough to live in the community of Sapri Creek, and located in Sapri Creek is Vista Ridge. Now Vista Ridge is a all seasons awesome outdoor place. In the winter, there's the ski hill with over 60 acres of skiable space. There's a chairlift. There's a tube park, and in the summer, Vista Ridge actually has a very cool outdoor aerial park. If you're afraid of heights, it's a little scary, but it's really fun. They have frisbee golf, they have mini putt, and recently the newest addition to our outdoor space at Vista has been a 12-hole golf course. So there is definitely not a lack of things to do. Along with the outdoor amenities, Fort McMurray is actually known for a very thriving arts community. We have Piano College, which has an awesome main stage as well as a secondary stage. They bring in multiple plays a year. There's often professional plays as well as community plays, which happen to be very popular, if I do say so myself. As well, there's multiple theater companies in town that produce things that are just amazingly fun events, such as dinner theaters. Recently, we had a murder mystery. There are all kinds of things happening. There's a comedy scene, there's a drag scene. If you are at all interested in being entertained, you will always have something to do in Fort McMurray. Definitely not a lack of things to do in any seasons in Fort McMurray. Which leads me to my next point. We have 4 very distinct seasons in Fort McMurray: spring, summer, fall, winter. We are probably most known for our winter. It is one of our longer seasons. So typically, I would say November to March is the coldest time in Fort McMurray. Usually January, February being the coldest, where average temperature is usually around minus 20 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is Fahrenheit, but she's chilly. However, I will say, being in northern Alberta, the winters, although crisp, are very sunny. Today, for example, there's snow on the ground, the sky is blue, we have clear blue skies, we have bright sun. So while the weather does get chilly in the winter, it is very sunny out here for the most part. We usually see our sunrise around 8 a.m. in the winter months, and the sun goes down around 4:15. In especially this time of year, November, December, January tend to be the shortest days of the year. So while the sun shines, it shines bright, but she gets dark early. Now on the flip side of that, in the summer months, it is spectacular here. We also are very lucky to be close to Gregoire Lake, which is an amazing place to go camping, go boating. The lake is huge. You can go water skiing, you can go fishing. And in the summer, very opposite to the winter, we have very long and sunny days. So often in, let's say, July, which would probably be the peak of our summer, your sunrise is happening around 4:30 in the morning. The sun is coming up, and it is not setting till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So while our days are a little short and chilly in the winter, our summer evenings are spectacular. The fourth thing that I wanted to share about Fort McMurray, if you are thinking about moving here, is that we are a very active community. There are always events happening. Everything from multiple galas in the winter season to big Halloween parties to so many Christmas events, from an ugly sweater party. You name the season or the event, Fort McMurray is having a party for it. So there's always something happening in Fort McMurray. You want a trivia night? We have trivia nights. You want karaoke? We have karaoke. We have hockey teams. We have adult hockey teams. We have children's hockey teams. Adult dance classes, kids dance classes. You want to go curling? There's a curling team. You want to be a swimmer? There's a swim team. You want to play volleyball, basketball, lacrosse, ringette. There is literally no shortage of things to get involved in Fort McMurray. Now, the last thing I want to talk about just really briefly is, you probably may or may not know this, Fort McMurray actually was home of one of the largest natural wildfires. In 2016, Fort McMurray had evacuated the whole community of about 88,000 people and lost somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,500 structures. Actually, my house included was lost in the fire. So there are some interesting things that came out of that. There's older neighborhoods with amazing yards that have been completely rebuilt. Specifically, the neighborhood of Beacon Hill and Abasand were some of our older communities in Fort McMurray, which were hit quite hard. Most of the rebuilding has been complete. If you were to drive Fort McMurray now, there's still evidence of the wildfire, but a lot of the community has been put right back together. It's a really interesting and crazy story. So a lot of the community members are still talking about it to this day. If you want to know about the Fort McMurray wildfire, I'm sure if you just Google it, you will see all kinds of things. So those are my top 5 things to know about Fort McMurray before you move here. I have lived here since 2005, almost 18 years, and I think it's an amazing community. I have birthed and raised my 5 children here. They're between the ages of 11 and 15, and I think it has been wonderful for them. So Fort McMurray is a lovely family community, always something to do, and if you have any questions, shoot them below, and I will happily answer them.